everyone, welcome back to Gracie May's Tarot. So today you're actually going to be choosing your group based upon the thumbnail, so there will be 3 symbols. I make my thumbnails ahead of time so I don't remember what they are, but I think they're food. But anyway, you're going to pick one of the 3 symbols or more than one symbol if you're drawn to more than one group for your reading. The timestamps are listed below in the description box just like always. And I've just woken up, so if my voice sounds a little raspy right now, I'm sorry. I'm drinking my coffee, so it should get better as we go through the reading. But yeah, so today we're going to be finding out what your relationship dynamics with your future spouse will be like. This video was requested by a subscriber, so thank you to that subscriber. And let's get into it. Let's start with pile 1. So pile 1, you actually got an extra oracle card. The question that I asked for these cards was, what will this dynamic between your future spouse and you teach you both? How will you both grow from knowing and loving one another? So you got an extra card. So we're actually going to look at this at the very end, so we'll save this. All right, so the rest of your cards we will be shuffling on camera. So first, these are just major arcana cards. We'll get one major arcana to represent you and one major arcana to represent your future spouse. I just saw a cardinal fly by. Every time I see a cardinal, I think of soulmate, so I feel like that's a really good sign for your future marriage. But anyway, so I'm not going to specify who is who. I'm just going to say person A and person B, and you can determine for yourself which side resonates the most with you, and then you'll be able to determine which side is your future spouse. Now, if neither of these energies sound like you don't resonate with person A or person B, then I would suggest choosing another group. Maybe your intuition was a little off, or maybe this reading just isn't for you. Could be. All right, so let's get into it. Person A, what is their dominant energy, please, Spirit? Person A, what is their dominant energy, please, Spirit? I'm sorry, I think my cat has been sitting on this blanket because there's so much cat fur. Just like clean the area a little bit here. All right, so person A, what is their energy, please, Spirit? What is their dominant energy within the context of this marriage? Person A, please, Spirit. Okay, we're taking the High Priestess. Let me just make sure that you can see this. Yes, the High Priestess. And then let's see, person B, what is their dominant energy, please, Spirit, in the context of this marriage? Person B. This High Priestess card is gorgeous. I think this is the first time I've really looked at it because I haven't played with this deck too much. Oh, wow. Okay. This is a pretty intense energy between the two of you. No wonder I saw the cardinal in the very beginning, because this is a very spiritual, very divine connection. Sometimes I read energies in these future spouse readings or these love readings, and it's very grounded, very earthy, I feel like maybe in the tarot community on YouTube, or maybe just in spirituality in general, we kind of favor or romanticize the twin flame or the soulmate connections, but there is value, right? In like the practical, grounded, I chose you, free will kind of relationships as well. But this connection really does feel like a soulmate, divinely guided partnership, like feels like there's a soul contract. I'll just say that right off the bat with these energies. Obviously, the High Priestess, person A, this is a very spiritual person, very intuitive. This is someone who lives by their gut feeling. This is someone who isn't influenced by the crowd, someone who isn't swayed by popular notion or what the majority is doing. This is someone who follows their heart, and not just their heart, but they're guided by their soul. You know, it's very deep. And so this is also someone who is very humble in a way, you know, like they know what they know and they know what they don't know. And so this is someone who does ask for guidance from the universe, someone who will pray or will work in collaboration with the universe in terms of seeking guidance and trying to manifest or attract good things into their life, things that they want. And obviously this is a very empowered energy as well. Now, with all of the little moons here, I do think this is someone who can get a bit melancholic sometimes, someone who can get in their feelings a little bit. This is heavy energy, so it can feel overwhelming at times. And I think that is where the wisdom of the High Priestess comes from, because yes, this person is deeply emotional, deeply intuitive, but they don't let that overwhelm them, and they do know when to hand some of that heavy energy over to the universe, okay? I think that's something they do really well. I will say, just with the imagery here, you see how there's the little pomegranates here. Whenever I see the pomegranate, I think of Hades and Persephone. For those of you who don't know that story, you can look it up. I won't go into great detail about it, but essentially different tellings say it a little bit differently. But because Persephone, the daughter of essentially like spring and summer and harvest, the daughter of the goddess who brings us the seasons, she eats the pomegranate when she's in the underworld. Hades rules the underworld, and because she tasted the pomegranate, it's this kind of like all-seeing knowledge, right? When you bite into the fruit, you know, it's the knowledge, it's the vision. And so because of that, she is bound to the underworld. And so that's why we have our seasons, because in the fall and in the winter, her mother is mourning her loss, and in the spring and the summer, she returns out of the underworld and is reunited with her mother, and her mother is very happy and blesses us with a harvest. But she does, in some tellings, choose Hades. She does choose to stay in the underworld to divide her time, and they have this sort of odd couple, right? And so that kind of energy is coming through in terms of the dynamic here. A little bit of an odd couple, and yet it works. You know, I think a lot of this connection, a lot of the dynamic between you feels like everything has fallen into place, feels like a divine plan, a puzzle has now been completed. It's kind of an image that shouldn't work. That shouldn't work. Like if you look at a puzzle from far away, you see this complete image, and maybe the image on the puzzle for your relationship seems like a bit of an odd image, seems like it shouldn't work. And yet when you look at that puzzle up close, you see how every single piece fits perfectly, right? It's a puzzle, it's a completed puzzle. And so I think from the outside, maybe your dynamic is a bit hard for other people to understand. People are like, really, they're together? Like, you seem like an odd pairing, you know, like two things that shouldn't go together. And yet, as people get to know you and they spend time with you, they see how well this dynamic works. It just doesn't feel like it should. Now, with person B, the Wheel of Fortune, here's the thing. The High Priestess asks for guidance, right? And follows the gut, you know, doesn't really rely on the logical, rational mind, isn't deceived by self-limiting beliefs or, you know, even beliefs that are perpetuated by the majority, by the dominant culture. With the Wheel of Fortune here, this is someone who doesn't really ask for any guidance. This is someone who kind of also doesn't rely on the rational, logical mind either. But this is someone who is a bit more impulsive, someone who, you know, lives by the seat of their pants, you know, like they just go for it. They're very impulsive, you know, if it feels right, they don't sit in that feeling. They don't meditate on that feeling. They don't analyze or get to know the energy of that feeling. They just act, you know, on sometimes surface level feelings. They don't get into the deep emotion of it. They don't look at their emotions critically or, you know, ask their emotions with curiosity, like, what are you trying to tell me? They just go by feeling, and they just live in the moment. And the thing is that they're a very lucky person, and things work out really, really well for them without much consideration. And so you have someone here who is deeply considerate and is cautious because they do meditate and they do sit with energy and they do ask for guidance. This is someone who does what they want to do when they want to do it, when they feel like doing it. And so you see how in some ways they're similar because they're not overthinking things. You know, because meditation and contemplation of feeling is very different than meditation and contemplation of thought, right? And this person isn't taking that time, isn't cautious. A lot of fire energy coming from this side, I will say. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius energy. But they trust their instinct. Whereas this person trusts the guidance of the universe. And so these are very two different energies. And yet they do still have this common ground of not overthinking things. All right, let's get some more information. I was going to use 2 different tarot decks, and I still am. I think that we will use the Romance Tarot for person A, and we will use, I forget the name of this deck. I will have it linked in the description box. It's a new deck for me. We'll use this for person B. So let's get some information on person A's energy. How is their dynamic with person B? How is person A contributing to this marriage? What is the dynamic, please, Spirit, for person A and how they relate to person B? What do we need to know about person A, please, Spirit? Person A, what do we need to know? I think I'm going to get 3 to 4 cards is what we'll aim for. Okay, so we have the 5 of Cups. 5 of Cups is coming through. We've got the Sun. And we've got the 7 of Pentacles. Let's see, and we have the 4 of Wands. All right, let's get person B's energy, and then we will... I'm actually going to move these. We'll put this here. Well, I can't really see what you can see. Person A, person B. Sorry, you know how it is with pile 1, like you guys are like the experimental group in terms of like how I lay stuff out. Yeah, that's fine. You can't see everything, but I'll pick up the cards for you, I promise. All right, person B, what are they contributing to the dynamic of this marriage? Person B, what is their energy? Person B. Person B. See, I didn't even feel a need to shuffle as long for person B. Like they're just, their energy is a lot faster, a lot quicker. They're like, let's get the show on the road. Come on, let's go. Let's do it. Yeah, definitely not as cautious. And you can see how that would create some push and pull between these 2 people. And you need some tension in a relationship. You need enough tension. There needs to be enough separation, because if there's not, if you're dating someone who is so identical to you, A, No one wants to deal with themselves all the time. You don't want your own flaws projected back at you all the time. It can be really frustrating. And you don't grow, you don't really learn too much in those kind of dynamics. And then you have someone who's always agreeing with you. And that can create some boredom over time, some disinterest. There's a lack of curiosity, you know? So we have the Six of Swords. I'm just going to take the Eight of Cups off the top here. Yeah, man, person B is flighty. Like, very flighty. They're kind of making me laugh a little. They're like, oh, you think I'm flighty? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about me. I'll say person B is a little bit of a comedian. They're funny. They're really funny. If you think you are person A, then you're marrying someone who's really funny, because person B is cracking me up. And person B is kind of funny because we have the Wheel of Fortune here twice. They're telling us, I am who I am. Like, I've already told you who I am. I feel like I've told you everything you need to know, right? It's funny. It's very funny energy. I actually would like to start with person B because person B is a little funny. I think person B demands, or maybe commands, a little bit more attention. Like, you know, in social settings, I feel like person B is the extroverted person. Person B is the person that people notice, that people engage with more. I feel like person A is very happy to take a back seat to person B. I feel like person B has this very sunny, happy-go-lucky energy that just draws people in. Like, that warmth is so engaging. They have a light in their eyes, you know. There's a little bit of sparkle to person B. And it's funny because beneath the surface of this, there's a little bit of almost like a chip on person B's shoulder. It's almost like they are so willfully happy. They are so willfully optimistic, so willfully hopeful. Like, they will not let negative circumstances, past disappointments hold them back. They will leave. They refuse to feel stuck, and they have felt so stuck before in the past. They've had to walk away from so much, and they are constantly trying to move in a better direction. This isn't just in terms of like physical movement. This is in terms of self-improvement, of not making the same mistake twice. This person is always trying to grow, and they know who they are, and they're not going to let too much of anything get them down, because they have fought for this happiness, and they feel like they have fought for you. And so they're going to be someone who is very protective over you. I mean, so protective, like almost like a guard dog, you know, like, because they have this like energy kind of like a dog, where really friendly, very happy, but yet that fierce protectiveness is still there, you know. And it's not in a controlling way, but they have that instinct that I was talking about before. They can pick it up very quickly, and if they get a bad vibe from someone, or even if they pick up on your energy, because, well, I'm saying your person A's energy, because person A's a lot quieter. If they sense that, if they sense a change in mood, a change in how comfortable person A is, they will respond, because they're very, they pick it up a lot. Whatever is going on with person A, they're very sensitive to it, and they almost feel like it's their job, their role, to make person A smile, to make person A feel comfortable, to make sure person A feels taken care of. And that's a role that they've taken on for themselves. I don't think person A puts that on them. I don't think person A is in any way like, you're responsible for my happiness. I think honestly person B has been through a lot in their life, And I do think to an extent it's like a trauma response. Person B may have had caregivers or family members in their childhood where they had these maybe unpredictable emotional states. Maybe they were blamed for things that went wrong. Maybe their caregiver turned their anger towards them for no apparent reason. You know, they were always the scapegoat in their family, the black sheep, and yet they have this resilience, they have this happiness, they know who they are because they have fought to know who they are and not rely on who their family made them out to be. And so I think because of that, they've learned that their value and what they have to offer in relationships is taking care of someone else, attending to someone else's emotional needs. And so that is the value they feel they are adding to this connection. And it's funny because I think this person works so hard, but I think from an outside perspective, it looks like things fall into their lap. It looks like they're so easy and they've never had to work for anything, when in reality they've had to work for everything. So I think appearances are very deceiving. And I think it's because this person puts on a mask to protect themselves. And I think that's why it's so good that they're marrying someone like person A, because person A sees right through that. And person A can handle their darkness. Person A can handle the heavy with ease. And so person B feels like they owe so much to person A for truly seeing who they are. But person A is happy to do it, you know? And so they don't feel like they have to be on. They don't feel like they have to be charming and charismatic with their partner. They are like that in social settings. And I think that takes a lot of pressure off of person A to be engaging and to be likable. Person B just does that naturally with ease. They had so much practice putting on a happy face in childhood, so they do it with ease in their adult life. Okay, so person A, how are they showing up in this relationship? I think that person A is really bringing the light in so many ways to person B's life. Even just the fact that I felt called to use the romance tarot for person A and the other deck for person B, because this deck is a bit darker in its imagery here, especially with the cards that we pulled that came out. This energy is a lot lighter. And so this energy is commanding more attention, right? It's drawing you in. But again, appearances are deceiving. I think this person is a lot happier and lighter than this person's energy because this person is hiding a lot. This person sort of bears their scars and doesn't mind it because they have this close relationship with the universe. They are so deeply spiritual and they bring the light in, they bring the sun in, but they balance it with the emotion. All this blue here around it, the sky, the rational thought, everything is in sort of harmony here. There's this deep knowledge, they're a very wise person. And so I think the way they function in this connection is they give a lot of great advice, but it's not advice like telling you what to do, like here are some practical things you can do. It's not that kind of advice. It's words of wisdom. That's a better way of expressing it. They offer words of wisdom, and I feel like eventually their spiritual practice is going to bleed into how person B lives their life. Not necessarily to say like if person A is really into prayer or does follow an organized religion or is into tarot cards. That doesn't mean person B is going to get into that, but I think some of the core values and some of the core beliefs that person A holds are going to be adopted over time by person B, because person B is going to see how wise and how in tune and how at peace person A lives their life, and they're going to want to kind of level themselves up in that way and meet person A where they are at. And so they're going to learn a lot, I think, from person A's energy in this marriage. Now, with the Five of Cups here, I do think a lot of this wisdom comes from experience, especially given that we have the Seven of Pentacles here as well. I think they have also had some disappointment, not as gut-wrenching as person B, but I do think that person A and person B relate in terms of sometimes things don't always work out. You know, sometimes the wheel doesn't always spin in your favor, and sometimes even when it is spinning in your favor, you got to go through a downturn before you can get back up again. That's how the wheel functions. And so I think that these are both two people who have learned a lot from their experiences. I don't think person A has had to struggle in quite the same way that person B has, but I do think that it's been a series of smaller disappointments for person A, but it's taught them patience. And you see how this person is running here, right? They're running. And then we had a lot here about person B also being on the go, moving. There's a lot of movement here. There's a lot of growth. And there's a lot of not settling for less. So I think that you both are gonna build up a really beautiful, solid foundation, a really beautiful home life together. And I do think person A is a lot more focused on getting married and wants that stability and security. So I think maybe early on in the relationship, person A will be bringing up the topic of conversation of like, long term, what are our goals together, what are we doing together, where is this going, whereas person B is more living in the moment. And I think that, I'm sorry, I sniffled a little. I think that's because person B has a real fear of being stuck. And so it's not that they are afraid of commitment, it's that their past commitments haven't worked out and they've had to consistently leave bad situations, bad people. Not that people are bad, but you know what I mean, things that just weren't working out for whatever reason, disappointments, they've had to move on from that. And you can even see like how my voice is getting a little bit tired here. They are tired of that. And so they don't want to repeat that cycle, and so it's funny because it's like this impulsive person is, because I think when you talk about impulsivity in a love reading, you think that that means this person would rush into commitment. It's not that kind of impulsivity. They will rush to leave. And it's not that they have a fear of commitment. They've committed so much to things in their life. It's just that they have a real fear of being stuck again. And so it's like trying to cage a bird, you know, like they don't want to lose their freedom. They understand the value of the cage. They understand the value of stability and security, but they want to make sure that the home that they choose, because they're not just looking at this as a marriage, they're looking at this as this is going to be my home. Like this person is going to be my home. So I can't just give that key up. I can't just give the key up to my heart to anybody. And so they want to be certain, they want to be for sure. But when they commit with their whole heart. And they don't think twice about it. And that's a little bit of like that red thread of fate. They may not show the red thread to their heart to just anybody, but you're already connected here. So I don't think that has to be something, if you're person A, I don't think you have to worry about it too much, but just be mindful. Maybe in earlier conversations, it may seem like on the surface this person is has a fear of commitment, but again, like appearances are deceiving with this person. This person is very multi-layered and very multifaceted. They're harder to get to understand. Okay, I think that's why they need someone like the High Priestess. That's why they need someone who intuitively picks up on things, because this person doesn't show their cards very easily. I mean, even with the fact that we have a repeating card here, they're not wanting to share quite as much as person A is willing to share. Okay. I want to get now into your love oracle. I think this reading's going to be longer than what I had planned. That's how it goes. Alright, let's get some love oracle cards here. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. I think it should be cooled down enough. When I said a sip, I guess I meant like 5 gulps. There's nothing like just black coffee in the morning. Like, if I wasn't concerned at all about calories, my favorite thing is a super sweet dessert with black coffee. Mexican wedding cookies are my favorite with black coffee. They just melt and all the powdered sugar. If you've never had them, I recommend them. And they're super easy to make. Okay. What did I say, man? I was literally talking about a bird and cage and freedom. Like, I was using that imagery, and then this card comes out. This is why I love to shuffle on camera. Even in the very beginning of your reading, we saw the red cardinal. And then we have the imagery here of the red card of fate. And we were talking about soulmates. And I mean, honestly, I'm picking up a lot of Gemini energy also. So fire sign energy and Gemini energy in particular. Gemini is an air sign. Gemini is represented often by birds. So it could be like maybe their sun is in a fire sign, but their moon is in Leo, or their Venus or their Mars. Maybe even their rising sign could be in a fire sign for sure. That could be drawing people into them. That warmth I was talking about, that's what makes them so charming, so lovable. So a celebrity example of that, I believe Johnny Depp has a Leo rising sign, but his sun sign is in Gemini, so that could be an example of the kind of energy that we're talking about here. Yes, he's on my mind because of the trial ending. But anyway, okay, so we have caution and we have freedom here, the balance. And honestly, I could just move these because I feel like the recommendation here, if you are person A watching this, approach this person with caution. You know, kind of like they're giving me a picture of a deer in a forest. I always associate that with Venus in Cancer. And it's because I have my Venus in Cancer that I'm like familiar with that energy, but it's like they have that protective shell around them. And inside, like, there's so much sweetness, you know, like this person loves with their whole heart. They're such a giver, they're so nurturing, but there's that hard outer shell. And it's not a hard outer shell like they're standoffish or they're, intimidating or anything, because they're very warm, they're very loving, they're very open, but they won't let you get too close. You know, like kind of like Joey on Friends, you know, like how he had like multiple partners and he was so friendly, he was so open, but he didn't want to get too deep with people. You know, he kept it very surface level in his romantic partnerships, but then in his friendships he did get deep. He did love with his whole heart. You know, he had that really beautiful relationship with Phoebe and everyone wanted them to get together. It's that kind of energy, and so I could definitely see this starting off as a friendship. And that's how you get close to this person, and you're like peeling back the layers and you're getting to know them over time, if you're person A. Honestly, I feel like you may be person A watching this just because you are watching a tarot reading, and we did say this person was very spiritual, and there's a lot of advice for person A here, so I don't know. just a thought there. But I also feel like there's a balance here of like this marriage is going to offer you a lot of stability and security mutually, but it's also going to offer up freedom, because it's like I know I can stray pretty far from home because home is always going to be there for me. So this isn't the type of connection where you can't ever go on like a girls trip. You can't ever go on a vacation with your family without your future spouse. You know, like you can spend time apart. You can travel for work. You can even be long distance for a while. This connection can withstand a lot, is what I'm trying to say. Like, no one is being tied here on a leash. And it's because you don't need a leash. Your hearts are already tied by the red thread of fate. You know, like, the trust here is so deep. You don't have to question a lot, which is beautiful. Beautiful in a marriage. All right. Okay. I was trying to shuffle and then that happened, so we'll take it. I just wanted one card, and I guess I got my one card. We're definitely taking this also because the happiest card, the Rainbow Reviver. And you know, I think when people look at the rainbow that's on the 10 of Cups, they kind of think like, oh, happiness forever, you know? But that really kind of does a disservice to the 10 of Cups and what it really is demonstrating. The rainbow is made up of multiple colors, right? And all of these colors we tie to different chakras, we tie them to different emotions, different feelings. You know, like yellow, hope, optimism, happiness. Red, passion, anger, love, romance. You know, blue, sometimes blue's a bit scary if it's dark and it's unknown. Sometimes purple, psychic downloads, right? Like green, we think of green with envy, but we also think of the heart chakra. Like these colors hold a lot of symbolism and a lot of different meanings. And sometimes those meanings are opposing and sometimes they work in harmony. But the idea here is no matter what color you're dealing with, you know, like you could be in a period of red in your life and there's a lot of anger and a lot of fury. And then maybe in a couple months, you're in peace, you're in harmony, you feel calm, and your life is very like sky blue, you know? There's different seasons in life, and there's different colors and different times, different time periods in our life that are easier to handle than others. You know, we all go through those cycles. And so the idea here is that this is a marriage that can withstand the test of time because your dynamic is that we're going to ride out this rainbow together and we're going to have fun while we're doing it. And even if the past is heavy and even if we have this deep spiritual life, we can still approach our marriage and our life together with fun, with optimism, with a childlike sort of naive perspective that things are going to work out, and if they haven't worked out, it's not the end yet. And so I feel like that's the part that person B teaches person A, is that willful happiness, that willful optimism. And it's not a toxic positivity, it's a resilience. It's a resilience that even in the darkest of times, we will have faith that things will work out. We will have belief because we choose to believe that things are going to work out through our own will or through our own faith. But regardless, they will work out. Remember how I said the two different perspectives shouldn't work well together, and yet they marry each other perfectly? There we go. All right, let's get your oracle. And remember, I said you had two oracle here, and then I also drew a cat oracle before the reading started. So this is going to tell us what you will be learning together through your marriage, through your dynamic. We have relax, take a cat nap. We have I create harmony. And we have I affirm that all life is sacred. Okay. All life is sacred. There's this energy here of I'm not just going to put my own needs first. I'm not going to just project or value this over-idealized image of you. I'm not going to put all of my happiness, all of my expectations onto you. I understand that your life and your needs are just as sacred as mine. And so this is how you two live in harmony. is this balancing of your own needs with the needs of the other person, your own vision for the future with their vision, and trying to find common ground, always working to find common ground. And I think the best part in all of this is this relax, take a cat nap card, is that your hearts together know peace. I think peace is something that you both have been craving for so long, and to have finally found it and to not have to feel the need to protect yourself, be in your own energy because other people are draining, disappointing, or just not, as far along in their journey of maturity as you are. To know that you can relax in the arms of someone else and someone else can hold your heart and you can trust them with that. Beautiful. Like just beautiful, beautiful energy. All right, so pile 1, this was your reading. Thank you so much for letting me do this for you. Thank you so much to the subscriber who suggested this, because I really love this one. This one was beautiful. And I even love how we laid out the cards here, because it feels like organic. It feels like somehow you connected over time, you grew together here. Yeah, I don't know, everything just feels very natural and very beautiful with this marriage, so I'm excited for your future. And yeah, if you have any video suggestions, leave them down in the comments. I'm pretty backed up, but keep them coming, because I'll just keep making the thumbnails, and it may be 3 months from now, but I'll definitely make the reading at some point. So yeah, take care, pile 1. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I saw last night that we hit 1,000 subscribers. That was a huge goal for me. So thank you so much. I can't express my gratitude enough. Yeah, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Take care, pile 1. All right, pile 2, welcome to your reading. I pre-pulled this card. We're actually going to look at it at the very end of your reading. That card will tell us how you two are growing together as a result of this dynamic between you. All right, so we're going to get one card to represent person A in this marriage and one card to represent person B in this marriage. So I'm not going to specify which one of you is you and which one of you is your future spouse. I'm going to let you decide that for yourself. Now, if you are feeling like you're not drawn to either energy, then you know this isn't your group, or maybe this reading just isn't meant for you. Sometimes that does happen, so if that's the case, no worries. Like I always say, if it doesn't resonate, please leave it. So we're gonna get, this deck is just, well, I've pulled out just the major arcana cards from this deck. And so we're gonna have one major arcana card to represent person A and one card to represent person B, and then we'll get some more tarot. But person A, please Spirit, how are they showing up in this connection? What is their dynamic with person B? What is their dominant energy in this connection? Too many cards. Person A, one card to represent their dominant energy in this connection. The World. Man, pile 1 was pretty intense, but looks like pile 2 is also gonna be intense. All right. Let's get one card, please Spirit, to represent the dominant energy that person B presents with in this relationship dynamic, in this marriage. One card, please Spirit. The Emperor. Okay. This is a power couple if I ever did see one. So we have person A as the World and person B as the Emperor. Okay, now I will say, in terms of the dynamic here, these are two strong, willful people. These are both like type A, this is the way it should be done people. So you can imagine how that works really well in some circumstances and how that brings about some tension and conflict in other circumstances. So when you agree, things are incredibly great. When you disagree, expect some discussion. Okay, now that's the thing here, is I feel like if there was anything that you two both needed to work on, it would be that you both can be a bit stubborn in different ways, okay? With the world here, person A looks at things from a complete and total perspective. And so, of course, they feel like their way is right because they're like, listen, I'm looking at the bigger picture here. I'm considering this from all angles, all aspects. You know, this person has a real higher perspective. I mean, they're very mature. The Emperor is also mature, but they're used to people following them. They are a natural born leader, okay? Like, this is someone who commands respect. And people just naturally follow this person. And so person A isn't falling in line like everyone else does in person B's life. I mean, even the fact that person A came through as person A with the world and the Emperor is coming through with person B, I think is very telling. Despite this person being the Emperor, person A is person A. They are the alpha here. They are the first person. If there was anyone who would have a little bit more power, it would be person A, not person B. Person B is secondary by nature of being person B. So what this means is actually very cute and very sweet, okay? Now, there's always going to be a little bit of a power imbalance, right? Like, we talk about the Two of Cups a lot, and justice and the scales and things being equal give and take, but nothing is always exactly equal at all times, right? There's always going to be a little bit of a shifting energy, and that's normal, that's life. But I will say this, person B is a boss, a leader in every aspect of their life, but when it comes to their marriage, they are okay with taking a little bit of a backseat. They're okay with folding. Here's the catch. They want to make person A so happy. They look at person A like they are the world. This is their whole world. This person is always at the top of person B's priority list. The Emperor will always put person A first. And person B, the Emperor, has a lot going on in their life and they're responsible to a lot of people. Person B, the Emperor, is someone who is very successful, okay? They have a lot of obligations in their life and yet they still choose to put their marriage first. And nothing makes them happier than to see person A happier. And so person B doesn't feel like they're giving up their power. The Emperor doesn't feel like they're giving up their power because they feel like to make person A happy feels like success to them. You know, they like feeling like they put that smile on person A's face. You know, like they like to spoil person A. They like that. And they like feeling that responsibility to person A. And person A, because they are someone who thinks of everyone, who sees things from a higher perspective, they don't take advantage of that. You know, like, because really and truly, they kind of have the Emperor wrapped around their finger, right? But they don't take advantage of that. You know, like they want the highest good for everyone. And they don't take advantage of the fact that the Emperor adores them. They don't take advantage of that. If anything, they hold that in high respect. All right, let's get your tarot. This is starting off very interesting. Let's get your tarot. I actually want to I'm going to do the reverse for you guys. Person B, the Emperor, will use the Romance Tarot. I think it's called the Romantic Tarot. We'll use the Romantic Tarot. All the decks will be listed in the description box. And then this one, I can't remember. I know it starts with a C. It's Tarot something. Something Car. It'll be in the description box. We'll use this deck for person A. Yep, that's how we'll do it. And the way I did it for pile 1 is I put these over here. So we'll do the same for you. All right, person A. How are they showing up in this dynamic? How do they contribute to the dynamic of the marriage with person B, please spirit? I feel like I need to shuffle again. Sorry, sometimes that happens. Okay. And we'll aim for 3 to 4 cards here. How is person A showing up in this dynamic, please, Spirit? How is person A showing up in this dynamic? We've got the 3 of Cups. We obviously don't want that many cards. Ooh, the Queen of Swords. Honestly, I was expecting her to show up, and I'm glad that she did. I'll explain that in a second. We've got the 5 of Wands. This is making a lot of sense. Too many cards. I'm feeling one more card. Temperance. Yep. So far, your reading is very straight and to the point, pile 2. Like, it's clear as a bell so far. We'll see if there's any surprises with person B, this Emperor. I will say too, like, this World card, the way the yellow flowers are in the center and the circle, like, literally the Emperor looks at person A like they are the sun. Like, this is the happiness, this is my joy, this is my light. Like, their joy is my joy. This is a tough person. Like, in every other aspect of their life, they are tough. Like, in business and work, with their family, like, they are like alpha energy. But this person makes their heart melt. Oh man, King of Swords with the Queen of Swords. Power couple, perfect match. Yep. Is anyone really surprised? Because I'm not. I'm not surprised at all. Thank you guys for being patient too. When you have really small decks like this, the cards tend to just fly out. This is also the King of Wands here. Oh yeah, and we have the Knight of Wands. And when the cards were going like back and forth in here, I had like a whole chunk come out. I don't know if you guys can see it on camera or not, but I also saw, I didn't take it, but I also saw the 5 of Wands in this deck. It was at the top. I'm gonna see if I can try to find it really fast. I probably can't. It's probably buried again. Yep, here it was. This 5 of Wands was on top of like a chunk of cards, and I was like, well, I don't need that many. But just the fact that it caught my attention, and we have the 5 of Wands over here too. For those of you who, you know, don't really know much about tarot, that's the card of competition. So even just the fact that we have this King of Swords is definitely this Emperor, I'll say that. But the fact that we have the King of Wands here and the Knight of Wands, 2 different messages are coming through. I will say person B has a lot of bravado and a lot of confidence, and I think depending upon the situation, sometimes they may even come off as a bit arrogant to people who don't know them really well. But beneath that, I think is a little bit of an insecurity. They feel like it's the Emperor, okay? Let's just call it what it is. They feel like they won person A. Like, in marrying person A, they feel like they won something. Like, they feel like person A is a real treasure, is a prize. If you're person A, you may have some mixed feelings about that, and that's valid. But that's how they feel. Like, they feel like this is someone who is so incredible, so special. They feel like they won. Like, this feels like a success. And, you know, the Emperor is very goal-oriented. You know, like, they're checking off, like, their lists of accomplishments, like, their list of goals, their dreams, like, they're checking them off. Like, they're very practical in that way. They're trying to win at life, and this feels like a win. This marriage feels like a win. And so there's some insecurity in that because they feel like they have to protect what they've won. And so, yeah, at times they may be a little bit jealous. They may feel like other people are flirting or trying to take what's theirs, you know, because person B does have a little bit of possessiveness, I'm not gonna lie, but it's mutual. Like, they feel like, you know, I'm theirs and they're mine. Like, we belong to each other and I don't want to share. And that's how person B feels. And so person B does feel a bit competitive, and person B, I think, will do a lot to maintain person A's attention. Like, they will buy them gifts. They will shower them with attention, with affection. They will, you know, every time because person B, the Emperor, is always winning at life. They're always accomplishing something, okay? They're so successful. They want person A to say that they're proud of them. You know, they're like, kind of like someone is juggling over here. Someone's juggling and putting on a show, and they're like, you see what I just did? You see what I just did? You see what I just did? And person A is like, yeah, like, that's awesome, good job. Like, you know, they want that positive reinforcement from person A. They are doing the most over here so that person A can give them some applause, you know? Like, person B kind of has the energy of almost like a celebrity in a way. Like, I'm not saying you're going to marry a celebrity if you're person A, but if you could imagine what it would be like to date someone who was in the public eye, who was a public figure, who was very successful, who was used to everyone clapping for them, and then behind the scenes, they treat you like you're the star, even though in public they are the star, but it's like it's almost like you come into their life and the audience no longer matters, the opinion of the audience no longer matters. I don't care that everyone else is clapping for me, I want to know that you're clapping for me. And everything that I'm doing is so that I can share my success and the gifts of my success, my money, my fame, my accomplishments, my reputation, all of that is so I can provide everything that you're wishing for, everything that I feel like you deserve. I want to give you the world because you are the world to me. That's how person B is coming through. And again, I'm not saying you're marrying a celebrity, but I feel like that dynamic is like what it would feel like to be married to person B, and I hope that makes sense. I hope that analogy makes sense. Now, with the Eight of Swords, it kind of feels like in some ways person B is a little bit trapped by their own concern with appearances and status and how things look. You know, I think if they didn't feel like they had to be successful, if they didn't feel like they had to earn person A's love and affection, if they didn't feel like they were in competition for person A's heart, even after they get married, like, I don't feel like this person ever feels like fully secure in the marriage, even though they seem so confident, even though they are so successful, so attractive. Like, the Emperor is very, like, sexy energy, okay? Still, there's this residual insecurity, and it's because they're putting person A a bit on a pedestal here. That's exactly what it is. And that drive to succeed and that work ethic that they have comes from a place of insecurity. Like, what makes them so successful is that insecurity that is driving them to feel like they need all of this external validation. And I'm not saying they're never going to grow out of it. I'm just saying that this is the energy that they're coming through with right now, okay? And yeah, I think that's what I would say so far with person B here. Now with person A, we've got Temperance, we've got the Five of Wands, so again, that competition. We've got the Queen of Swords, and we have the Three of Cups. So here's the thing, and why I feel like this dynamic exists. I feel like it exists because person A, in the beginning of the connection, did reject person B a bit. Like, I feel like person B really had to chase person A. They really had to win them over. And I think it's because person A, again, if we're going to go back to that celebrity analogy, like if you were dating a celebrity, or if a celebrity was expressing romantic interest in you, that celebrity would probably be a little bit spoiled and a little bit entitled, because they would be used to people praising them, falling all over them. I think Drake once said that when he got famous, it surprised him how little he had to say and how little he had to do on dates. Whereas before he felt like he had to do the most. He's like, nothing changed other than I got famous and I started getting this recognition. And all of a sudden, all these women who were previously out of my league were falling all over themselves to get to me, you know, and I was no longer having to chase anybody. And so I feel like that's kind of the dynamic in the beginning. Like, this person is used to people falling all over them and not having to do too much. But then to have person A reject them a little bit or put them in their place, now all of a sudden person B has to work really hard to get person A's attention. And the Emperor is a conqueror, is someone who likes to chase, to work for something. And so it's almost like the more person A puts them off, the harder they work. And so that's always the dynamic. I think that dynamic gets perpetuated even into your marriage. I'm not saying it's always going to be like that in your marriage, but I do feel like there's a little bit of, almost like a little bit of like teasing energy. Like, this person is so used to praise and they like it when person A gives them that validation, but they also kind of like that person A makes them work for it, and they kind of like it a little bit when person A puts them in their place. Like, you can see the Queen of Swords here, she has beheaded someone and has them chained. Like, it's pretty intense, this imagery, okay? The Queen of Swords is the perfect person to put the King of Swords in his place. Like, the King of Swords is used to winning every single argument, and now he's met his match. And again, like, I'm saying he and she, we're just talking about energy. We're not talking about gender, so don't worry about that. But yeah, so it's kind of funny. It's like she holds his mind, like, because King of Swords is very rational, very logical. He leads with his mind, okay? His mind is his best asset. And so what he's focused on in terms of his thoughts is what he is giving value to. She has stolen his mind. Like, he can't think of anything else but her. She holds the key. She holds his mind hostage in a little, you know. And again, like, he can't help but think of her. He can't help but put her first. She is unlike anyone he's ever met before. He's finally met his match. So he doesn't want to let her go. And it's funny because, like, all of this attempt to conquer her, it's like he doesn't even see that she's already conquered him. So it's like a very funny dynamic. It's kind of hard to explain. I hope I'm doing a decent job of it. There was some other, I don't know why celebrity examples keep coming up. I'm trying to remember. There was something else I was going to say. Oh man, what was it? I'm trying to think. maybe it'll come back to me. Oh, I remember. I think it was Russell Brand and Katy Perry when they got married. I remember, I think he said he was nervous about going on a date with her because typically when he would go on a date, he wasn't trying to have a second date. Like, he was just trying to get what he wanted and then be done with it. And so it threw him off guard. And I think even on the first date, he was expecting her to sleep with him, and she refused, and she told him, "You're spoiled. Like, you're entitled." And just putting him in his place like that, because he had gotten used to just women being able, being willing to sleep with him without, just on the first date, whatever. Being put in his place like that made him want to work harder, made him have to actually try. And so that's kind of the dynamic here. And even with the Three of Cups being here, it's like the Emperor has so much going on in their life, and yet they focus so much on person A. Person A, this Queen of Swords, is still like having fun, is still maintaining other aspects of their life, and they aren't always focused on person B. And so yeah, there is a little bit of a power imbalance here. I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, that's what it is. But I think thankfully person A is someone who is very fair and handles situations with grace. I think person A is a really evolved person, and person A likes to maintain peace and balance and harmony. And so I think that typically speaking, the Emperor, if we're looking at a scale, the Emperor in every other aspect of their life pulls the scale in their favor. And they get their way. They get their way. Like, this is someone who probably runs their own business. Like, they don't have to answer to anybody in their career. It doesn't feel like that. And best believe the Emperor is someone who is very career oriented, okay? And it could be too, like, in their family, maybe they're the eldest child, maybe they're the golden child, like the sun shines on them, in their family. Maybe they are actually a public figure, who knows? But listen, like, person A forces that scale back. And it's funny because it's like person B thinks that they are giving away their power willingly to person A, but really person A is the one moving those scales back into balance. And it's because person A isn't really willing to put up with person B's entitlement. And person A sets that boundary early on, and because person A asks for respect, demands it even from person B in a way that person B is not used to, person B has to step up because person A isn't going to step down. And the fact that I'm saying that and we're talking about the Emperor, like, that just shows you how evolved person A is. I mean, person A is represented by the world, okay? Like, this is the card of completion. Like, I don't know how much more their soul can evolve in this lifetime because they're there. Like, person A is a force to be reckoned with. And person A isn't in competition with anybody. Person A knows what they bring to the table, and they ask person B to recognize that, and person B does. Yeah. I mean, this is a funny dynamic. I love these readings. I really do. Let's get some love oracle cards for you. Let's find out what else is going on in this dynamic. Please, Spirit, what do we need to know? The Queen of Swords, too, is just a boss. Like, just a boss. What do we need to know, please, Spirit? What do we need to know about this dynamic? Yeah. This honestly also has a little bit, yep. This honestly has a little bit of a vibe of enemies to lovers. Like, it feels like, again, like this person really has to win this person over. This person's not taking any crap from anybody, period. And they like this chase. And I think it may even take a little bit of a while for this to become a committed relationship, because this person really has to prove that they are trustworthy and not a player to person A. And that's going to take some time, because person A has been through a lot of cycles in their life with the world. They've seen and done it all, and they know what their expectations are in love. They know what they need in love, and they know what they have to offer, and what they have to bring to the table is incredible. So you better be matching me. You better be my equal. Otherwise, I'm not putting up with it. And so there's a lot of mutual respect here, and I'm so happy to see it. But I think there's a lot of sexual energy here. There's a lot of passion, a lot of sensuality. With the flirt card, there's a lot of, I mean, we're talking about the King and Queen of Swords here, okay? Like, a common theme in the, like, enemies to lovers trope, which I'll link love trope with your future spouse in the description box. If I don't, please remind me in the comments, but I'll do my best to remember. A common theme in that trope is like witty banter, and it's my favorite romance trope. In fact, I don't like to read a romance novel unless it's enemies to lovers. That's my favorite. Like, I love it. I don't read a lot of romance books, but lovers to enemies is funny because there's always this witty banter back and forth. And the King and Queen of Swords, masters of language. That's their strong suit. So these are two people who will communicate so well, right? Like, when they argue, but when they are ready to compromise, they compromise. And there's also a lot of just like fussing, like for fun, you know, like it just keeps things fun. It keeps things passionate, right? Like, you guys are entertaining to one another. You challenge one another. You keep one another on your toes. And so there's a lot of fire, there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of heat, but there's also that air energy coming through with that communication. And so fire makes air bigger. It's explosive sometimes, but it's also stable and grounded in this mutual respect. So honestly, I love this marriage. Like, I really love the dynamic here, and I hope you're into it too. And I know if you're resonating with person A's energy, you might have some reservations about person B. But people do change, and people can step up. And I think given your energy, if you're resonating with person A, you don't have to be concerned, because you're not going to settle for less anyway. So the fact that you know you won't ever settle for less, you know this person is stepping up. And I don't think this person has ever tried long-term commitment. I think they're really committed to their success. And so I think that when they decide they want to settle down, they are committed to making that work. They are committed to the success of that union. The Emperor is not someone who wants to get divorced 5 times. That's embarrassing. Like, for the Emperor, because they want to have that sort of like perfect image of their life. Remember, I said like status and appearance is really important to them. They want to be successful in everything that they do, and they want other people to recognize that. They're not going to want to get divorced, so they're going to do everything in their power to avoid that. And remember, I said person B will always put person A first. Person A is always going to be their top priority. Their marriage will become the foundation from which they build everything else. They will make it that way. All right, let's get another oracle card here. All right, what do we need to know? Please, Spirit, one card to represent this dynamic. And of course, we get 2. We've got the Garden, and we have the distorted feminine here. Now, with the distorted feminine, I do feel like, remember how I said in the beginning, there was a real energy of you guys being a power couple? I think both of you struggle. The Queen and the King of Swords. The Queen of Swords, even though she's divine feminine energy, she is the most masculine presenting out of all of the queens in the tarot, okay? I think that this connection, this marriage, is based upon a mutual value of self-discipline, and I think that you guys both sometimes struggle with self-compassion. You know, that divine feminine energy. I think you guys both push each other, you challenge each other, you're both ambitious, you're both growing, you're both working. That divine feminine energy can sometimes be suppressed in this dynamic because you both are focused on achieving so much. And so it's just a gentle reminder to grow this garden. And I like that they're paired here because this tells me that this will be something that you guys work out in the long term, but I think that you will have to create space for the other person. Now, the Emperor is very divine masculine energy. I do feel like, because remember I said the Emperor was willing to make person A first, I don't think person A always puts person B first. And I think that's where there's sometimes this imbalance. And so I think that would be something for person A to work on. And the fact that we have Temperance here tells me that they're capable of doing that. It'll just be, when do they feel safe to do that? Because person B, I think, has a little bit of a past in terms of their romantic history. I have a reading called Your Future Spouse's Romantic History. So if you're person A watching this, maybe check out that video. I'll put it in the description box as well. But yeah, I think that would be something for person A to work on, but I think that's going to come with time because honestly, this person has to earn their trust. And I think even after you get married, because honestly, I think you both are very attractive people, there is going to be a little bit of jealousy, a little bit of possessiveness that comes through as a result of that. I think that you're just going to be in a marriage where people are sometimes hitting on your spouse and sometimes people are hitting on you and flirting with you. You know, like I think that that is unfortunately something that just happens. Not everyone respects the sanctity of marriage, and so that may just be something to work out, you know, to watch out for. Now, with the garden here, I think there's going to be so much financial abundance in this marriage. I think there's going to be a lot of wealth, for sure. But I think, again, that comes with that reminder, that double-edged sword, that the harder you work, the less maybe you're spending on family and your romantic life and your love for each other. So just a reminder there to balance out all that workaholic kind of ambition with home life and family and love and marriage. Okay, let's end with your oracle. And I did draw a cat oracle too before this reading started. So yeah, of course there's cat fur on the cat card. I was like, what is that? So these cards are going to tell us how you both are growing as a result of this marriage, as a result of the dynamic that exists between you two. So we have flexibility, stretch your limits. And we have, I am trustful in my relationships. We have talked a lot about that, about person A having to learn to trust person B and person B having to earn that trust. Yes, like trust is a huge, huge thing, and that loyalty will be proven over time, okay? And then this flexibility here. This is a very rigid person, so I feel like person A is learning to trust person B, and person B is learning to have flexibility in their life because they can't just focus on success all the time. There has to be flexibility. They have to understand other things are important. And honestly, I feel like they're learning that lesson faster than person B is learning their lesson. And that makes sense. Trust is built over time. It doesn't happen overnight, but you can show someone pretty quickly if they're a priority or not. You can show someone that you can be more flexible, I think, quicker than you can build trust. So that makes sense. All right, so this was your reading pile 2. I hope this resonated. I hope you enjoyed it. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. Hit the notification bell so you always know when I upload. We just hit 1,000 subscribers last night. I don't know when I'm uploading this video, but at the time of filming this, we just hit 1,000. So I'm so happy, so grateful. I mean, we did this together, right? Like, if I were making videos and no one was watching, I would be nowhere. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much to everyone. Like, I've gotten so many kind words in the comment section. I mean, you all have been so sweet, so supportive. So a huge thank you to everyone who's been watching these videos and supporting this channel. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next one. Take care, pile 2. All right, last but not least, pile 3, welcome to your reading. So, like I was telling the other 2 groups, what we're gonna do to start off is we're gonna get one major arcana card to represent you and one major arcana card to represent your future spouse. Now, I'm gonna refer to you all as person A and person B. I'm not gonna specify which is which, but you will know who you are based upon which side you resonate the most with. Now, if you resonate with neither side, maybe try to select another group, or maybe this reading just isn't meant for you, and that's okay. Okay, and let's see, what else was I gonna say? There was something else. I don't know, I can't remember. It'll come back to me, I guess. All right. Oh, also, remember, if I say he and she, I'm just referring to energy, I'm not referring to gender. Okay. Let's get one card, please, Spirit, to represent person A's dominant energy. What are they contributing to this dynamic? What is their dominant energy, sorry, in this relationship dynamic? Person A. What energy do they contribute to this marriage? The Star. Person A. I love the Star. Okay. Person B. Person B, what energy are they contributing to this marriage? What is their dominant energy in this relationship dynamic, please, Spirit? One card to represent their dominant energy. Okay, I'm gonna take Strength here because it flipped over. 2 of my favorite cards in the tarot, so I like pile 3, man. Okay, so the Star. This is Aquarius energy here. And then we have Strength. This is Leo energy. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with astrology, these are opposite signs in the zodiac. And so opposite signs, you can kind of think of them as like the same ingredients are used to make 2 opposing things. Okay, so it's like the same stuff, but yet they present as like mirror images. So like Aquarius really focuses on the group, the collective. You know, they're the sort of like space cadet, you know, like they're really unique, they're very individualistic, and they're not afraid to be who they are. And if you can see here, like the bee is very hardworking, but the bee works for the hive. The bee works always in community, right? There's never like one little lone bee. They have their hive, and they work for the good of the collective, for the good of the hive. And they are innovative. They are they are the visionary. That's the word I'm looking for. They are the visionary. They are the future, because they look at things from such a unique perspective, and they care about the good of the collective. So they're always thinking of ways to innovate, ways to improve, and they are the visionary. They are the star. They are the hope. They are the wish for the future. And they shine as a result. The star shines, right? Strength, we have Leo, we have the sun. The sun is also a star, but the sun is very different than the star, right? Like the star is one of many in the sky. There's multiple stars, there's only one sun. You see how these play off of one another, right? The star is a light. The sun is also a light, but they're very different. They're very different. Leo focuses on the individual. Leo thinks of the self first. They're not selfish though, they're still generous. That generosity just is different than the star's generosity. The Leo gives from their heart because they have filled up their own cup, because they focus on themselves and their cup is always full because they're always giving to themselves. They have enough to give to other people. You can't pour from an empty cup. Leo understands this. And so Leo rules the heart. Leo comes from the heart, but Leo also has a backbone. You know, Leo is confident, resilient, self-assured. It's just a different kind of confidence. The star, Aquarius, wants to be unique. Leo just wants to be themselves. You know, it's different. It's very different. Because Leo doesn't even define themselves in terms of the group, because the sun can't see anyone else for its own light. Leo can't help but shine. They don't have to try. And Aquarius knows that they can shine even amongst a crowd of people because they are a star. You see how these energies play off of one another. So imagine the sun and the star coming together. That's beautiful energy. There's so much light. So this is really a dynamic where you are so different, but you also have a lot of mutual ground. And so it's this odd paradox, right? Because you're so similar in some ways and so different in other ways, but you come together and you form a complete picture. The collective and the self come together. Well, now we have fertile ground to grow so much, to create so much together. And I do like the bee and the honey, the sweetness, the lion, the sun. There's like this yellow aura over your relationship dynamic. There's optimism and there's hope in this dynamic. It's beautiful energy here. So much harmony between you two, and yet so much room for growth. All right, let's get your tarot. Let's see, I think I want, Yes, sorry, I had to think about this. We'll use this tarot deck for person B, and we'll use the romantic tarot for person A. And I'll link these tarot, well, I won't link them. I will put the names of the decks in the description box for you all. Okay, so let's move these over here, and let's get started. Now, I didn't specify this, but you don't have to be a Leo or Aquarius watching this. This is just this is the energy you present with in this relationship dynamic. I want to make that clear. Okay. Person A, how are they showing up in this relationship dynamic? What is the energy they contribute in this marriage? What is their dynamic with person B? Person A, please, Spirit. And we'll get 3 to 4 cards for each side here. Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Sorry. I know you're like, what is interesting? I'll tell you in a second. All right, so we've got the 2 of Cups. Too many cards, we just want one more. Again, too many cards. That happens when I use the smaller decks, like cards just flip over so fast. I'm being like really insistent. Just one more card, please, Spirit. The star, the star, the star. You get the star. Okay, let's move these like this. Yes, maybe, possibly. Can we? There we go. All right, fancy. All right, person B, let's get your cards and then we'll talk about it. Person B, please, Spirit. What energy are they contributing to this relationship dynamic? What energy do they present with in this marriage? How are they showing up in this marriage, please, Spirit? Person B, what is their energy? Person B, what do we need to know, please, Spirit? This is such a playful strength card too. Like the way the lion is rolling in the field of poppies, like it's so playful. Person B is really fun. Oh man. I'm sorry. It just makes me sad for person B. Ooh. Okay. We actually got 2 extra cards, but I'm gonna... yeah, I'm gonna allow that. That'll be fine. You like that? I'm gonna allow that. Spirit's like, I didn't know you were in charge. Okay. So, let's see. There's something about person B's energy that's making me want to start with person B. This happened in another reading too. It is what it is. We'll start with person B. I'm sorry. We've got the Knight of Cups. We have the 8 of Swords. We have the 7 of Cups. We have the 10 of Swords. And we have the Emperor here representing person B. Now, I will say this Emperor is not your future spouse, or it's not person B. This reminds me of like the Emperor's new clothes. Like this is a false emperor. Like the way it's presenting in this reading, this is a false emperor. And I say that because I feel like person B has been manipulated and controlled into thinking they are lesser than what they are in their past. With this 8 of Swords, they've been tricked into thinking they are less than this lion. You know that saying like a lion who's raised by sheep will spend their life thinking they are a sheep. They won't recognize their own power. They won't recognize their own strength. You know, they can, if they're raised by sheep, they can forget that they are a lion, or they were never, you know, they were taught to think of themselves as, you know, less powerful than what they actually are. And so I think this person may have come from a difficult family. Yeah, I think this cuts pretty deep with the 10 of Swords here. I think this goes back to childhood. I think that they were tricked into thinking they were lesser than what they are. And so the fact that they have connected with their inner strength, they have found their own light. The fact that this strength card in particular is so playful in its energy says a lot. And the fact that we have the Knight of Cups here, I think they're a newcomer, a bit of a newcomer to expressing their feelings and feeling safe to do so, and feeling safe to connect to their emotions. They have matured. They're not a page, okay? They have matured, but it's new to them. Like following their own heart, knowing their own strength, it's still a bit new. They're still rolling around in the poppies, okay? Like it's still a bit new to them, but I think that they love it, and I think they're really enjoying it. And to prioritize their own feelings, they're getting better at it, and not seeing their emotions as an enemy, as a weakness, feeling free enough to express themselves, to cry, to know that that's okay. That's all new to them, and I think that they're stepping into that and they're embracing it, but it is still new. And with the 7 of Cups here, I feel like, given especially that I wasn't thinking about it, but putting it directly under the 8 of Swords here, understanding that they do have choices, they do have options, they aren't stuck. It's very liberating for person B. And so the way that they show up in this dynamic with person A, it's like they finally feel like they chose right. And it's like they finally feel like they can trust their own heart, because person A wasn't a mistake. Like marrying person A feels like the best decision person B ever made for themselves. Feels like this is me putting myself first because I'm choosing the best possible partner for me and following my heart. And this makes me feel like I have a true partner, a true equal. I'm not with someone who's putting me down to make themselves feel better. Because I think there's a real strong dynamic here of building each other up and helping each other express that confidence, and also being able to express vulnerability and understanding that expressing vulnerability is not a weakness, and it's not in any way limiting that confidence, limiting that self-empowerment. It's actually empowering to be vulnerable, to be open. So I think it's very healing, honestly. I feel like person B feels very healed in this connection, which is beautiful. Now, with person A, we have the Ten of Pentacles, we have the Two of Cups, we have the Star again, and we have the Hierophant, which is why I said it's very interesting that this came out, because the Star, remember I talked about Aquarian energy, is very revolutionary. That's very opposing to this Hierophant energy. And so it's kind of like person B's influence on person A brings about a lot of stability. It balances out their energy. They're not trying to be so different or so contrary or so, they're not, it's like they temper person A's energy a bit, and they balance them out so well that now person A is not maybe as extreme or radical in their beliefs and their values as much as they were. And it kind of grounds these grand ideas they have into a practical sense. And so person A is actually able to accomplish a lot more by person B's influence. They kind of make them settle down a little bit, and it's very good for them, and it allows them to achieve a lot. With the Ten of Pentacles, it allows them to achieve so much more than they were able to ever do before. And I feel like they also feel like they can be a lot more authentic with person B. Person B is so accepting, and I think honestly, even if person B was a bit afraid of their own emotional vulnerability, they're really they're really adept at understanding and holding space for other people's emotions, because they just wear their heart on their sleeve, and they're so loving and so nurturing. And I think they were taught that the fact that they are that way is wrong as a child, and so they've had to overcome that. But I think that they were taught that their emotional intelligence was a weakness, their kindness was a weakness, their generosity was a weakness, when in reality it was their strength. And so person B's really had to overcome that, and person A is a great person to help them practice that with. And person A feels like they can take off this mask. They don't have to hide behind how unique, how different. They don't have to be the weirdest person in the room, because Aquarian energy kind of wears that like a badge. Like, Aquarius people are the same in that they're all unique. Like, there's that paradox to Aquarian energy. But it's like person B allows person A to understand it's also okay to be basic. And so person A feels a lot more comfortable with person B, and like they can take this mask off and be their authentic self, and they can have opinions that are unpopular to the group, and they don't always have to be so selfless, and they actually can be selfish, and that's okay sometimes. And person B teaches person A it's okay to sometimes prioritize yourself. And it's also okay if you do have some traditional values, that's okay as well. I feel like person A also really looks at person B like they're a wish come true. I think that's kind of a mutual feeling, honestly, but I think person A maybe wouldn't use this language, but I think that they, in some capacity, feel like they manifested person B. Like, they would feel like person B is everything that they ever wanted or prayed for or asked for or hoped for, would be maybe the language that they would use. Because you see the two shadows here. I feel like there's this energy of, I can show you my complete self. I can show you my shadow self, and you will hold my hand. And not only that, but our shadows are parts of ourselves that are undesirable to us, parts of ourselves that are hard to look at. Instead of pushing them away, we can hold hands, we can exist in harmony together, and we don't have to hide our flaws. We don't have to hide the parts of ourselves that are uncomfortable or hard to look at. I can love you in a very whole and complete way. I can love you just as much on your bad days as I love you on your good days. So yeah, it's a very supportive and nurturing dynamic overall, I would say. Absolutely. All right, let's get your love oracle cards. Let's do that. Actually, I'm gonna get a sip of my coffee, I'm sorry. I fast in the morning, so you may hear my stomach grumbling. If you do, I'm sorry. But she's starting to fuss at me, so. Oh no, see this, stay up, darn it. All right, let's find out some more information about this dynamic between person A and person B. What is the relationship dynamic in this marriage? What do we need to know? I will say also with the Hierophant coming through, person A is so incredibly committed to person B, so committed. I'm not saying person B isn't, I'm just saying person A takes this marriage very seriously. And I don't think person A takes a lot very seriously, you know, but they take this marriage very seriously. Aww, I love this. I love this so much. Bottom of the deck, you have commitment. Yeah, there's mutual commitment here. I feel like Spirit just wanted to reassure us of that. The fact that we have fear and support coming out together here feels like exactly what I was saying before about your shadows being able to peek behind the curtain. Like your shadow selves can come out and you can be afraid together. You know, you can feel like marriage is this big scary thing and be afraid together and do it anyway together. You know, like there's so much mutual support here. And whatever happens during your marriage, there's always going to be challenges and trials and tribulations, right? There's always going to be some sort of struggle. You can have good years and you can have bad years, good days, bad days, whatever. We all go through these cycles. You can match every season. You can meet every season together. And you can be afraid, and you can be afraid together. You know, like there's so much here about we can work together. Like there feels a real energy here of teamwork. And Aquarius and Leo, when I think of those two energies together, I think of good friends. I think of good friends. And so there's, yes, love, romance, yes, but there's also friendship here. And that's the foundation. That's the foundation. Because that's why you feel like you can be yourself, you know, like there's nothing here about having to put up a facade or feeling like you have to always be your best or feeling like you have to work at attracting this person. You have to, like, you know, there's no feeling of like we have to work to keep the fire going. Like, I don't feel like that's the foundation of your connection, you know? Like, I feel like even if, let's just say, like all the physical attraction was taken out of the equation, you guys would still want to know each other because there's such a connection there of friendship, and this marriage is so healing, and there's so much mutual support. It's like you don't have to worry about your marriage dissolving because there's friendship here. Like, you don't have to worry about it. You're always gonna be wanting each other, you know, because it's not superficial. There's nothing superficial about it, you know? It's not like I'm marrying this person because they look good to me. You know, like you don't, This is the type of marriage where you don't have to worry about getting older and, you know, having your physical appearance change over time and worried your partner's not going to want you if you know, your physical appearance changes as you get older. You don't have to worry about that because that's not the basis of the connection. So I love to see that. And it's not to say you're not physically attracted to each other. I'm just saying it's deeper than that. There's more than that here. It's not surface level. You're not superficial people. Neither one of you is a superficial person. Creativity. I really feel like you guys have a joint soul mission together. I feel like you're meant to create something. Now, it doesn't have to be career-wise, but I feel like something about this marriage is meant to raise the vibration of the collective, and whether that's something that your kids are meant to do, something in relation to the family that you create, maybe it is a business venture, maybe it's just that you guys are a shining example and a marriage that a lot of people look up to and a lot of people try to emulate. Take whatever message resonates, but there's something there about you creating something beautiful together. Okay, let's look at your oracle cards and we will end this reading. So these two cards I have pre-pulled and they represent what you are learning as a result of this connection and how you two are growing together. We've already gotten a lot of messages about that for your pile in particular, but well, still, this is how we're ending your reading. All right, so we have improvisation, just make it up. Just the fact that we got a cat in a tutu with ballet shoes on and a unicorn little hat, and it's a rainbow unicorn hat. And I think in the other groups I put this card on this side, but for your pile I put it on this side, and that's no surprise because this is person A's energy all day. Like, this is an Aquarius. This is an Aquarius cat if I ever did see one. Like the space cadet, remember? Like, of course. Let's see what your other card is. Oops. It says, I remain in balance with my emotions. Of course, that would be person B's energy. Of course, it's on this side. That's funny. All right, so let's get into it. With the just make it up, I feel like this relationship, this marriage, allows person A to really be themselves in every sense of the word, to be authentically themselves. And whether that's them being weird or them being basic, them being unique, them being their shadow self, whatever version of themselves wants to come out to play, they can feel free to do so. And I think that feeling is so liberating for person A. It's what they've always wanted. Like, Aquarius energy values authenticity so deeply, and to be with someone where they can express that to their full extent is so freeing. I think especially if this person is a creative, is an artist, a musician, something like that, that's gonna feel so good for them. So good for them. They're gonna feel like person B is their muse to an extent. Like, it's just going, like, that love that they have in this connection is gonna be so great for their creativity. At their marriage, this love is gonna feel so inspiring to them. I don't know why that message just came through, but could be, could be. Aquarius and Leo are very creative energies. Leo rules the 5th house, which is the house of creativity, and then Aquarius, just by in nature of how unique they are, yes, like there's a lot of creative energy bubbling here. And so I think that is going to feel really good to person A. And I think that it's also just gonna, it's almost like they feel free to dance in their life again. You know, like, Leo energy is so fun. I feel like Aquarius is just going to have this renewed lease on life, and this marriage is gonna let them feel like they can dance with life and they don't have to take things so seriously and they don't have to repress their inner child. That's what it is. Really feels like they can reconnect to their inner child. Like if that Aquarius unique side to them has been repressed, it feels like that energy can come out to play again with person A. Now with person B, I remain in balance with my emotions. Remember how I said they're still learning, they're still on this journey to being the King of Cups, right? Or the Queen of Cups. So I feel like they're learning how to have peace and harmony with their emotions, the yin and the yang. They're learning to balance out that divine feminine and that divine masculine energy as a result of this connection. Because I feel like they feel finally safe enough to do so. It's like I feel safe enough to be vulnerable. It's okay to be afraid because I have this support. I have this support. I can feel free to do this. Here's the overall dynamic. No one is judging anybody else. No one is judging anyone in this connection. And that's what feels so liberating, so freeing, but also so comfortable and so secure and so safe. And so I love that. I love that. You know, like I can be naked and it's okay. It's really great energy here. I can't overstate it enough. Okay. Pile 3, this was your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope you enjoyed it. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell so you always know when I upload. I will say, at the time of filming this reading, I just hit 1,000 subscribers last night. So I want to say a huge thank you because that was a major goal for me and I couldn't have done it without your support. We did this together. Like I was telling another pile, if I was making videos and nobody was watching, I would be getting nowhere, right? So I just want to say a huge thank you because everyone has been so kind and so supportive and so wonderful in the comment section. Like it's been incredible. I wasn't expecting that. So to have that community building has been really cool for me. This kind of started off as like, how do I put it? I don't know why I'm going into depth with you on this because I didn't with the other cards. Maybe it's the Leo energy here. But when I started this, I wanted to be able to do tarot. Like when you're pulling cards for yourself, I mean, you start to get the same cards over and over again because obviously your day-to-day life doesn't change that much. And there's only so many questions I can ask about myself. And like, yeah, I read for my friends, but there's something special about reading for people you don't know because there's no bias there. There's no, there's so much more objective because I'm just reading what's in front of me and there's nothing else going on like that's influencing the reading. You know, there's no personal bias there. And so it's fun. Like this is so fun for me to do and I get to do something that I love and share it with other people and hopefully bring you guys comfort, support, guidance, a distraction from your day-to-day life, whatever it is that you're seeking in these readings. I'm so happy to be able to provide that and to have this relationship with you guys because you're offering me support back and that feels great. And so yeah, I just want to say a huge thank you and thank you for letting me read for you today and take care, Pile 3.